Yeah, I noticed as soon as he was being a little bit emotional, she grabbed his hand and she was like, let's go, you know what I mean? She gave him an out.
だってガーフとリアラの匂いすごい似てた。だからそっかなって。
That's basically how animals tell if they're blood related to other animals or their species to prevent inbreeding.
なんだよそりゃよ。あの人は俺様の母さんなのかな。わかんねえよ。けど俺様が名乗り出ても何にもならねえ。
よーしよし。
何のつもりだ。
男ってなんか泣いていい場所じゃないと泣けないんでしょ。女の胸の中だった気がする。惚れた女の胸で男は泣いてもいい。お嬢が言ってた。
誰がてめえみたいなチンチクリに惚れたってんだよ。
大丈夫。ガーフが惚れてなくてもミミが惚れてるから。ほら、ガーフに惚れた女ミミ。その胸。だから泣いても大丈夫。
I'm sorry, but that is both adorable and hilarious. I shouldn't be laughing, but like, holy crap.
よしよし。
なんで俺を忘れてんだよ。せっかく会えたのによ。呼ぶことも許してくれねえのかよ。
大丈夫。いい子いい子。
Poor guy. Poor guy. Poor guy. But seriously, that writing, both hilarious and adorable at the same time. Mixing comedy with feelings is just, it's such a weird combination. You're laughing, but you're going, oh, at the same time, but you're laughing. But you feel bad for laughing. It's just so I don't think I've ever done that before. Alright, episode 3, post episode 2. To say this is going to be a little bit of a pickle is an understatement. Because you've got a really, really bad situation right now. So, they tried calling in reinforcements in terms of Reinhardt, scrapped that idea, brought Betty, got her advice, her analysis of the situation, good idea. Emilia chose to tag along, good idea. And by the time you got to the town square, you were out of time, basically. Could have been avoided if you ran a little bit with Betty instead of walking, but like, it is what it is. Emilia is down for the count. Alright, she's out. She's out. Like, that's basically it. You can't rely on Emilia fighting anymore. She's out. Betty, question mark. But the big problem you have is that now you've potentially got 2 enemies instead of 1. It's gone from just dealing with Sirius to dealing with Sirius and Reggie. However, and I say this with a little asterisk, however, Reggie isn't yet a combatant. So you don't necessarily have 2 enemies on the field. But what you do have, however, is a scenario. You have Reggie, whose objective seems to be, at least according to him, from what he said, I've got no reason not to believe him, to catch Emilia. So his motivation, grab Emilia, get out of there, right? Fairly predictable. He's already got Emilia. Emilia is already incapacitated. He's effectively gotten what he wants. His next course of action, which would be the most rational one, would be to simply leave. However, you have Sirius, who, from the fights we've seen so far, seems to have it out for Emilia, or at the very least whoever she thinks Emilia is. Which means she wouldn't necessarily want to let Reggie leave with Emilia because she wants to kill Emilia, right? So there's a little bit of an opportunity there, if the stars align, that Sirius is not going to care about anyone else at the plaza, is not going to care about Subaru, is not going to care about Betty, is not going to care about the kid that's sitting on top of the tower being waited to be sacrificed, and she's just going to Tsukarashi at Reggie to try to get Emilia. And hopefully during that either Emilia gets dropped on the ground or something, or there is an opportunity to grab Emilia and move out of there. Everyone at the plaza is still screwed if Reggie kills Sirius, but he might not kill Sirius, but at the very least, their objectives do not align. So that is a potential option Subaru could take. I don't know what his battle IQ is, I don't know what his situational analysis is, I don't know how quickly he can identify targets, and I don't know how quickly he can make tactical decisions. All mind things that you kind of have to work on that's not physical related, so I don't know where he's at with those. Dangerous to assume that he's anywhere with those. So that is an option. Just sort of see how it plays out and then make a move. If Reggie tries to leave, Emilia's not actually in danger. So if Reggie was to leave, and even if you beat Sirius, chances are the checkpoint is going to be after that. And effectively, Emilia got Princess Peached. And now she's in another castle, one of 77 or 79. I don't know how many castles and wives he has, but I'm going to assume he has more than one. Another potential option is to keep him there. Engage him, slow him down. I don't know, some magic, like something, right? And try to keep him there and hope that Sirius goes for him instead of you, because if she goes for you and you're busy with Reggie, you're basically dead. However, if that was to happen and you were to die and you were to reset and you thankfully and hopefully reset back, where you reset the last 2 times, that wouldn't necessarily be a horrible thing. Because, one, you'd instantly know that Betty is down and she's a G and she's not going to ask questions. Even if you call her up at 3 a.m., she's not going to ask questions. She's just going to ask, where do you want to meet and should I bring a shovel? All right? Betty is a G. You also know that if you do a quick runner and grab Betty and run away, Emilia's probably going to follow you thanks to Priscilla being on top of it, because her IQ and situational analysis is through the roof, whereas Subaru is basically a stoned potato. If you did that, and instead of walking, you ran with Betty, right? You'd save a little bit of time there. You know how the conversation's going to go. Tell her the bare minimum. She's down. Emilia, here's the bare minimum. Don't waste time talking to Emilia. Just be cool. Let's go. If you get to the square early enough and you grab that homeless dude that shanked you in the alleyway and you get him out of the town plaza, you could potentially call in reinforcements, but not be in the town plaza and hopefully not get hit with the mind control, because from what we've seen in episode 1 and 2, it's probably proximity. It's probably proximity. We thought it could be directional. We thought it could be auditory, but it seems it's possibly proximity, because we saw in episode 2, Subaru wasn't looking at Sirius, but he started getting hit by it before she even spoke, before she even met in eye contact with him. So with all probability, it's proximity. If you're out of that proximity for hopefully long enough and you can call in reinforcements, you could potentially get Reinhardt, get him to get Sirius out of the area long enough for Emilia or Betty to potentially dispel the people in the plaza, and then you can get rid of Sirius before Reggie arrives. Because even if Reggie does arrive after the fact, you could probably get, Reinhardt coming back after he's taking care of Sirius. You still have Betty and you have Emilia still awake. You could hopefully hold off Reggie long enough to get your reinforcements. I doubt that's going to happen because the story's kind of moved far enough to introduce Reggie. And one, Subaru is not going to Tsukurushi and reset because he doesn't see it as a viable option. And 2, I don't see him getting taken out quick enough for that reset to happen. The reason I think that reset might be useful is because I don't think the loop would reset in the middle of combat. I don't think Satella would do a reset in the middle of combat. That would just be messy. But if Reggie runs away with Emilia and the combat ends, you potentially have your new reset. So, but yeah, it really comes down to that. I mean, even if you get Reggie and Sirius fighting, Reggie's probably going to be able to hold on his own, but is he going to be able to hold on to Emilia while he's doing that? Big question mark. And hopefully in that time, the commotion, the noise, and the level of magic that was being used would have at the very least caught the attention of guards or set off some sort of alerts or monitoring system. And there's people, going in that direction. I mean, Sirius was firing off some serious magic, right? Like, that's a lot of commotion. Hopefully someone saw it. So that's pretty much it. I don't know. I just personally feel throwing in the towel in terms of using Reinhardt so early was a little bit of a mistake. But then again, this is the loop right after that failed and he asked Betty for advice. So this is the Betty advice loop. So that makes sense. But still, this is a pretty bad hand. And how you play it totally depends on how quickly you can analyze the situation and pick opportunities. Like, that's the thing. Because it's very fast moving. You've just got a new enemy on the board that you know next to nothing about. And it really comes down to how quickly you can identify your targets, how quickly you can discern the information, and how quickly you can figure out the frame of every combatant on the field. All of these things are mind games. Something that I don't think Subaru is very strong at. So I don't think he's going to excel in terms of that. I think he's probably just going to wing it and get it right eventually. That's the thing. That's what he's been doing so far. He's been failing his way to success. But I don't know. If he maybe invested a little bit of time working on strategy and stuff, he could potentially do a bit better. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So you think witch cult archbishops don't work together? Not what I said. I said that the motivations of Sirius and Reggie are not aligned. Reggie wants to bang Emilia. Sirius wants to kill Emilia, right? Freud's prophecy is coming true. One wants to bang, the other wants to murder. That's it. Anyways, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, so he's got Emilia and you've got a little girl. I wouldn't exactly call that a fair trade, but it is what it is. Where's my subtitle, by the way? Oh, enabled. Much better. Okay, I find this funny. He's literally standing in magic fire and is like, this is my name. Before you ask additional questions, shouldn't you first introduce yourself? I mean, it's only common courtesy. While standing in magic fire. I mean, that's a flex. I am so confused. So he's saying he's greedy, but he's saying he's an unselfish person. I am so confused. You see what I meant? I was like, you know, your assessment of the situation might yield something because, you know, she's going to want to take Reggie out, but it kind of looks like he completely forgot about Sirius. I think Subaru has negative situational awareness. I haven't played D&D, but like, Jesus Christ. He thought this was Naruto or something, that in the middle of combat you can just have a conversation. He thought it was one of those anime. I'm sorry, but it's not. You know what F's me? And Subaru doesn't even realize this. Do you know one of the most basic ways to get an advantage in combat is? Ask the person you're fighting a question. Once they hear the question, their focus is going to be on comprehending the question and answering. During that time, you can attack them. They're off guard. Subaru doesn't even know that. He really has done absolutely no mind training at all. Oh, sweet Jesus. Subaru is 11 years old. Yeah, and? Sorry, I'm missing the explanation on that one. 17, not 11. I don't get it. It's okay. He's got negative intellect. He's like Aqua. Just buy them all. I mean, how many 17-year-olds got intellect like that? Actually, quite a few. You would be surprised. Oh no. Great, now we got 3 of them. Things are really getting out of hand. And I thought 2 was bad. With any luck, we could have 4. I am not remembering that. I'm gonna call you Butty Boy. I'm seriously wondering, is he able to break out the Ali stabby guy out of the trance and ask for help? Because it kind of sounds like the rest of the city doesn't know what's happening right now. I'm kind of happy that he's like, I am starting to understand that they are not on the same team. Better late than never. And Betty's like, bro, can we do something now? Betty's a G. I love Betty. She's a G. How about you give him a mission so he's not thinking or acting on his own? Hey kid, get us reinforcements. Go tell a guard. Subaru, when I said look for an opening, this is not what I had in mind. He was about to fight Sirius! Why are you getting in the way? Why are you explaining how it works? using a weapon that you haven't become proficient in the middle of combat. Just as I expected.
花嫁が傷ついたらどうしてくれるわけ？女の子に優しくなんてのは誰に教わらなくても当然のことだろう。俺がこの世で一番優しくしたい相手がその子だぞ。
Simp!
花嫁って何のつもりだ？言ったろ？この子は僕の妻に迎える。黙れよ。エミリアとも俺の嫁だ。
That is the thing Subaru would say.
てめえなんぞにくれてやれるか。エミリアっていうのか。可憐なこの子にぴったりじゃないか。名前も知らねえで。その子の何を見て花嫁なんてざれ言。顔だよ。顔が可愛い。愛なんてそれが全てでしょ。
You know what? I'm on board with Reggie here. If a girl has a nice face, she can be very pretty. I mean, you can have a very pretty body, but the face is the make it or break it. Whereas if you have a pretty face, you can always work on the body. But if you have an ugly face, there's not much you can do.
死んだ方がいいかしら。
ティーノ、どこにあった？見つけた。見つけた。やっぱりそう。ごめんね。気づかなくてごめんね。でも、やっぱりそうでした。
Congratulations, Subaru. You got a new waifu. Have fun with that.
そこにいたのね、あなた。私の愛がやっと届いた。だから帰ってきてくれた。ずっとあなただけを待っていました。愛しい私のベテルギウス。やれ付き合ってられないな。
And now he's gonna flee.
大方さっきの手品を見てそんな気持ち悪い妄想したんだろうけど。ありがとう。どうもごめんね。今取り込み中なんです。用事が済んだなら早く去られては。
God damn it! This is the worst possible way this can be played out!
僕に命令するわけ？一途な思いなんて言い訳して勝手に相手の仮面を名乗るとか気持ち悪いって気づけよ。それってある意味ベテルギウスの権利の侵害だよね。私とあの人は愛し合っていた。だって日に何度も目があった。そろそろあの人のものを持ち出しても仕方がなかった。食事の残りをすすっても許してくれたし、吐いた息を吸っても何も言わなかった。私に名前をくれた。笑ってくれた。私だけね。やめろ。俺のためを思うなら周りを巻き込むな。あなたのお願いでもお断りします。だってやっとまたこうして会えた。それなのにあなたはまだ耐えろ、我慢しろ、そうおっしゃる？そんな見たこともない精霊の娘を連れてどの口で待てと。
I mean, she's got a point.
くそお前。どうせ本当の狙いはあの薄汚い金髪のハンマーだろ。そんなにあれが恋しいならあなたの前で焼いてやる。わけわかんねえよお前。
Subaru, this is what we call a yandere.
さ盛り上がってるところ悪いんだけど、そろそろ時間なんだよね。自由時間は終わり。福音書に従うこの僕に感謝するといい。待て、その子を置いてけ。考えたんだけどさ、式に神父側の列席者がいないのも寂しいし、横連舞までしてた君を招待しないってのもちょっと哀れで薄情すぎる話だ。だから。
He's doing you the courtesy of killing you. I'm just saying, he's doing you the courtesy of resetting you. Which you probably should have done yourself by now, but like, eh.
さっきまでの君の失礼な態度だけど、これでおあいこってことにしよう。
Damn it, Reggie, you were supposed to, like, Bowser the girl and leave him alive so the loop keeps going, and then he has no Emilia, and then he spends the rest of the season looking for Emilia from castle to castle. Now you just give him a free way out. Yes, Betty, keep him alive. Good girl.
冗談じゃないのよ。
ごめんね。でも冗談じゃありませんよ。私の愛するベテルギウスならこう言います。痛み
Congratulations, Subaru, this is the worst possible outcome. Not only did you lose Emilia, but the loop is gonna continue and you have a permanent injury. My god, this kid surprises even me sometimes. You know, like, if you put a gun to my head and asked me to explain the worst possible outcome, even I wouldn't predict this. Like, I predicted Emilia getting Princess Peached, but I figured he would, like, die trying to stop it from happening. But he's not dead, he's just permanently injured. Would you have done better? I basically said at the beginning what I would have done. I would have reset it. Like, seriously. I would have reset it. I'd be walking around with an emergency dagger. I'm just saying. Like, what I said in the beginning, this was a bad scenario. It was a bad scenario. If he had the reset one more time, he could have made a really good play. But unfortunately, he's not actually dead, so there's no actual reset. And no one even knows what's going on!
昨日は帰らなかったからお嬢にきっと怒られる。
悪かったな。付き合わせちまってよ。
気にしてまへんで。ゴーフはこれからお母さんと買いに行くの？
Okay, guys, I have a new favorite character. Reggie. I love it. Reggie is my new favorite character. You know why? Because he's one-upping Subaru. Reggie's my favorite character.
お前何言ってやがんだよ。会いに行けるわけねえだろ。
そうなの？
会いに行けるわけ。
ごめんなさいね。お客さんが来るなんて思っていなかったからあまり片付いてなくて。気にしない。大丈夫。ミミの部屋と比べたら圧倒的。
That is so relatable.
ゴージャスタイガーさんはお茶はお嫌いでしたか？
違うんだ。
よかった。でも変ですよね。いつもならちゃんとお客様の歯の好みを聞くのに、今日だけ自然と不思議。
Is that painting of the forest?
お母さん、もうご飯の時間だしお客さんには帰ってもらったら？
Wait, so you either have half siblings or these are your siblings from your dead father?
お姉ちゃん。
どうも歓迎されてねえみてえだし、おいとまさせてもらうとすっか。
なんで？
なんでもクソもねえや。コフランの荒削りってやつだろうが。
言っちゃやだよ。ゴージャスタイガー。
悪いな、連れを待たせてんだ。
You know, Gorgeous Tiger is a pretty cool nickname. You're a tiger, but you're gorgeous. That's a pretty sweet nickname. Gorgeous Tiger. I mean, it sounds like a porn star nickname, but like, it's still a pretty good nickname.
フレド、無理に引き止めて困らせてしまったらいけないわ。お客様にはおもてなしとソワリエよって言うものね。ガーフ行こう。
おっと、お客さんかい？
お父さん、ゴージャスタイガー。不審者よ。
Hmm?
大したことじゃねえさ。もう帰るってことだから気にすんな。
ゴージャスタイガー。怯えて逃げ出すなんて虎が聞いてあげれる。
You know, I know you're supposed to have one or two people in your subconscious, one that drives you to be better, and one that stabilizes you and tempers you. But the one driving you to be better is a big titty serial killer. How'd that happen? Your trauma and your shadow merged into one person. How'd you pull that one off? Oh, right, your mommy issues. That explains it.
大丈夫？さっきすごい変だった。お腹とか痛い？
ああ、なんでもねえ。もし、お二人とも。なんか俺様たちに用があるってんですかよ。妻から話を聞きました。お二人は娘
She doesn't know. Or he doesn't know, rather.
そのまんまの意味だよ。レイドはいつでも真っ向勝負ってな。本当はリーシアって名前なんじゃねえのか。あなたは妻の何を知っていらっしゃるんですか。そいつは俺様も知りてえことなんだよ。どうやらあなたには本当のことをお話しすべきのようですね。リアラは私と出会った15年前からその以前記憶がないのです。
Ah.
記憶がねえだと。嵐の夜のことでした。私は商談の帰り道、大きな崖崩れの現場に遭遇したのです。妻はその土砂災害に巻き込まれ、
Ooh.
生き埋めに。
お母さん行ってくるわね。きっとあなたのお父さんを連れて戻るから、それまで待っていてね。
事故のせいか彼女は何も覚えていなかった。分かったのは着衣にあった取れかけの名札から名前にリの文字があること。そのまま彼女の名は夜に咲く花の名を取ってリアラと呼ばれるようになりました。それであんたと結婚したのかよ。私は妻を愛しています。彼女は私の妻で大切な女性です。
This is a really hard fork in the road. Because, assuming it's true, your mother is safe, she's happy, and she's forged, a meaningful and fulfilling life. She has no recollection of anything from the past, including anything negative. Probably doesn't know where your real father is, and digging up those things would only create an awkward situation for her where she's effectively got two families and she's kind of forced to choose, you know what I mean? So it's like, what do you do? Do you live with the fact that you know that your mother is happy and move on and, you've got some closure? Or do you try to dig up the past for yourself and potentially ruin everything for her? That's a tough one. Jesus, that is not fair on Garfield.
こんなことを聞くのは忍びない。ですがお尋ねしたい。あなたは私の妻リアラとどういったご関係なのでしょうか。俺様はあんたの奥さんと何の関係もねえさ。申し訳ありません。
あなた、よかった。ゴージャスさんとミミさんも一緒で。
リアラどうして。
これ私が作ったソアリエです。味には自信があるんですよ。おー、お菓子嬉しい。
The little cat's adorable.
遅帰るね。ゴージャスタイガーとゴージャスミミはこれにておさらばだぜ。
Poor Garfield. Poor Garfield. Sad. Interesting if they will show her backstory in anime. It was told when this was happening. It's sad. That's so hard on Garfield. That's so sad. That's hard on him. It's so unfair. Life has thrown so many unfair things at him. And he was just the baby, like no fault of his own. He just got dealt really bad hand. And now he's just, damn.
ガーフ、泣きそう。
はあ、何を言い出しやがんだよ。なわけねえだろうが。
ガーフが強いのは知ってるけど、別に強がんなくてもいいよ。リアラ、ガーフのお母さんなんでしょ。
Yeah, I noticed as soon as he was being a little bit emotional, she grabbed his hand and she was like, let's go, you know what I mean? She gave him an out.
だってガーフとリアラの匂いすごい似てた。だからそっかなって。
That's basically how animals tell if they're blood related to other animals or their species to prevent inbreeding.
なんだよそれはよ。
I'm sorry, but that is both adorable and hilarious. I shouldn't be laughing, but like, holy crap. Poor guy. Poor guy. Poor guy. Poor, that, like, it's, like, really tough for him. It's like, I know he had an older sister, and I think that's good, because at the very least they had each other. If he was just by himself, it would be even more difficult. He would be even more isolated from everyone, and he would be more withdrawn and a lot colder and more self-reliant. So the fact that he had a sister is probably very healthy, and which is why he sort of cares so much about other people. But it's so unfair. You know, such a bad hand to give to a kid. And he's a good kid. He really is. He's a good kid. Like, even the reason why he was defending the sanctuary, it wasn't for anything malicious. He was protecting the people within it. He felt that it was his responsibility to do so. Those are the qualities of a good person. And of course he was scared of the outside world. His mother just disappeared. Of course he'd be afraid. He was a child. He still is a child. Yeah. But seriously, that writing, both hilarious and adorable at the same time. Mixing comedy with feelings is just, it's such a weird combination. You're laughing, but you're going, oh, at the same time, but you're laughing. But you feel bad for laughing. It's just so fucked. I don't think I've ever done that before. That is well played. You see, like, in my term of events, sorry, in my perspective, it's a lot easier to have a bad mother because you can just write them off. You know what I mean? Like, you don't care about them. They get eaten by a pack of wolves, you could sleep like a baby. But, like, when you have someone that doesn't exist and you don't have the closure of, say, for example, they died, right? If they died, it's kind of like, oh shit, they died, you know? You accept it and you move on from there. But now he's got this thing at the back of his head that she's alive in this city with a family, and the best thing you can do for her is stay away. Like, that's harder. That's harder. You're giving up your closure for the benefit of someone else, which is a really difficult thing to do. Really difficult thing to do. And not a lot of people would do it. Adorable. Adorable. Worthless meat scraps. Oh god, are we gonna get a fourth archbishop? Ah, oh, sweet Jesus! When she's talking about meat, she's talking about penis. Soil yourselves. Ew. 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 Of course they made her a vampire. She's gonna be an underage looking vampire, just like the Witch of Lust. Because if she looks like a grown woman, it won't appeal to the audience. What the fuck? Jesus Christ.
目覚めたみてえじゃんか兄弟。
Your besto friendo. Congratulations, Subaru. You fucked the loop. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause. I mean, I couldn't think of a worse way for that to end apart from you dying, but like, sure. Let's go with that.
おうよ。いっぺん見りゃ忘れられねえあるさんよ。また七面倒くせえ状況だな兄弟。エミリアとベアトリスは
She's with her future husband.
お姉ちゃんの方は知らねえが、兄弟の相方の養生ならあっちに寝かせて。
Is she okay?
無事でよかった。本当に。
Eee, don't touch it!
走っちゃダメだよ。
Don't touch it! Jesus Christ!
スバルキュンのキスは絶対安静なんだから。
フェリス。
Are you insane?
俺が兄弟見つけた時はあんまりグロいんでビビったぜ。
ちぎれかけの足をベアトリスちゃんがつないで、それをフェリちゃんが重ねて直してくっつけたってわけ。
I just put some flex tape on it, it'll be fine.
これ寝てるだけなのか。
She's probably completely used up her mana. She probably needs to rest.
仮死状態に近いみたい。限界までマナを使った反動ってやつだよ。
See? Makes sense.
限界までってあのチビが涙目で呼ぶもんだからついてったら広場が血で真っ赤っかだった。
See? That's a good boy. He went and got help. Like, that's what happens in these situations, right? If you have kids that are panicking, you can't tell them go somewhere safe because they'll start thinking, right? But if you give them an objective, they'll cling on to that objective. Like, I need to get to over there. I need to get to over there. Or I need to find this person. Or I need to get this person, right? And so, like, all else fails, they stick to the basic objective. And they go with that. And that helps them control the fear and rationalization of the situation. You just hold on to that for dear life. It's like the guardrail. It's like a very basic psychological thing. Like, all these little things would be so handy if you utilize them. You know what I mean? All these little tricks, they're just, like, when you put them together, they make the difference. They really do.
スベル兄弟と同じ怪我した奴らがゴロゴロ転がってるのをその幼女が知恵魔法で何とかしててよ。大したもんだぜ。
Wait, so the only thing that happened is Emilia getting Princess Peached. Subaru still gets to keep his leg. Damn it.
ベアトリスは大丈夫なのか。
このまま寝かせておくだけじゃ回復しない。眠ってる理由はマナ不足だから、それが補えれば目覚めるはずだけど。
Is there any way you can, like, similar to taking blood, take mana out of Subaru? I mean, he's not using it.
さあ泣き言ほざいてる暇はねえ。俺も見てや。
はい、そこまで。
Jesus Christ, do not do that! I've had injuries and I've accidentally hit them on shit. Don't do that!
一人でかけていって何がどうなるの？命の無駄遣いなんて絶対しないで。
悪い焦りすぎてた。ああそういや足の例の言ってね。
別にお礼が欲しくてやってるんじゃにゃいの。言われた方が気分はいいけど。
助かった。ありがとう。
どういたしまして。
あるも助かった。ちなみに俺はちゃんと礼が欲しくてやったことだぜ。
上にクルシュ様たちが集まってる。エミリア様を助けたいんなら、スバルキュンも話し合いに参加して。
魔女教対策本部っつうとこだな。けどなんでミューズ紹介なんだ。
Okay, but there is a thing here. And hear me out. None of the princesses, or like princess candidates, have any reason to help Emilia. Think about it. If Emilia's not in the race, that's one less opponent. Why would you save Emilia? Exactly.
ここを仕切ってるキリタカさんがプリステラの10人会。都市で一番偉い10人の一人やって理由やね。
あのキリタカがマジで。
キリタカ様は立派な方ですよ。
Subaru, can you not bleed all over the carpet, please?
今は避難指示の手配で手が離せないそうです。
それで
I mean, she had the cloak. It's basically the Akatsuki cloak. They're pretty unique.
俺の足の傷とエミリアを連れ去ったのはどっちも滞在司教の仕業だ。そうなるとやはりあの放送は事実と考えて間違いなさそうですな。放送？
実は今から1時間ほど前に放送があったんです。
それが魔女教？奴ら都市庁舎のミーディアを奪ったのか？それに加えて4つの制御塔が奪われたことは間違いないようです。塔のてっぺんには魔女教の紋章の書かれた旗が掲げられています。
So, the witch cultists took the 4 support towers in a city that's basically like this. Very similar to some forts. And so by controlling the outside walls, they have the high ground. Oh god, they're gonna open up the water gates, aren't they? They're gonna flood everyone.
もし水門が開放されれば
Oh god!
プリステラの町は一瞬のうちに水没してしまうでしょう。
See, this man gets it. Ladies and gentlemen, this man gets it.
放送は突然でした。声の主は色欲の滞在司教。
色欲？憤怒でも強欲でもなく？
はい。その人物はカペラ・エメラダ・ルグニカと名乗り、
I'm calling her Lugia.
クリステラは自分たち魔女教の手に落ちたと告げました。
3人目の滞在司教。
Isn't this technically 4th, but the 3rd involved in this scenario because you killed 1?
町の人たちに混乱は？もともと水災に備えた危機管理が行き届いていたおかげで混乱は驚くほど抑えられています。住民はそれぞれ避難所に。奴ら何がしてんだ？
この都市に眠る魔女の遺骨。
Oh god, witch.
夏樹くん、クリステラの成り立ちについては聞いてる？
I'm gonna guess it's a tomb that was desecrated and they built a city around it to protect it. Similar like the church in Serbia.
確か都市そのものが何かを捕まえるための罠だったって。
そう、その罠にかけられたんが九段の魔女やったって話なんよ。
Oh
都市を水没させて魔女を滅ぼした。
shit.
その魔女の遺骨が今も都市のどこかにある。
Which witch?
言うてな。
Which one? Which one?
大将、エミリア様。
ゴージャスタイガーさん、私の子供たちを見かけませんでしたか？今日は朝早くから遊びに出かけてしまって二人とも避難所にもいなくて。
あの二人が。
はい、それにあの放送、あれを行うためのミーディアは都市庁舎にあるんです。夫はそこで働いていて。ごめんなさい、大丈夫です。あの子たちも毎朝都市の放送は聞いているし、あの人も昔から抜け目がないから。
あんたの子供と旦那は俺様が見つけ出してきてやる。
Gorgeous tiger. They're talking about his soul. He's got a very gorgeous soul. Like, look, I like Garfield a lot. I like him a lot. I like him as a person. I like him as a character. I want the best for him. He's the type of person who I want the best for. His heart's in the right place. He's willing to do the right thing, even though it's hard to do. He's very selfless in that regard. He's a genuinely good person, and I really, really like him for that. And he stands behind his beliefs and is willing to sacrifice everything for him. I really like him. I really, really like Garfield. 3 archbishops now. Can I get a 4th? Something that I think about the place that is locked the witch, one of them except for Echidna, because we know where her body is. Well, I think we could probably also rule out Satella, because she was locked somewhere else. Possibly behind the door that Pandora wants to open. Is that the people in the town are needed for they be a sacrifice of the seal break or something. Or they need just to make the water flood the town, but is not needed for all the people to die. I don't know what you're getting at, but yes, I mean, if we're talking about seals in terms of, you know, like biblical and apocalyptic and things like that, like, yes, some seals are broken by sacrificing lots of people, but like, yeah, like, I mean, fair enough, but think about it this way. sometimes killing people is fun. Think about it this way. You're a Sin Archbishop. Sometimes killing people is fun. You know what I mean? Like, the Sin Archbishops don't exactly need an objective to justify killing people. Sometimes the means is the objective. They just kill people. So, I'm, like, whatevs. 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 Ah, that was fun. That was fun. That was fun. That was fun. So that was the little pipsqueak that everyone was going nuts about in the trailers. Lust. Funny that both the Witch of Lust and the Archbishop of Lust look like little girls. I mean, both of them. Not one or the other, but both. Interesting. Interesting. Like, all the other witches are basically, like, grown up. Except two, basically. I think two look like kids. But, like, all the other witches are grown up. Lust has got to look like a little girl. And the Archbishop, too. I'm just like, what did you mean by that? What did you mean by that? But Sirius liked to prove her idea of love, so killing without a reason is useless to her, and Reggie likes to yap. Well, remember what I said when we first encountered Sirius? Sirius's interpretation of love is basically death and suffering and fear. Like, she was talking about it in that little speech where she was, with the kid that was tied up, and she was like, I wanted to kill this girl, but he said kill me instead. What a display of love. You know what I mean? Like, her interpretation of love is death. Camilla is more like 16, 17, but Typhon was literally a child. Well, Camilla, I can't remember which one Camilla is. But you get my point. You get my point. Lust looks like a kid. You get my point. Pride and Gluttony looks like a kid. Gluttony's just like tied up to a bed that walks around. What did they mean by that? Camilla is lost. I ain't remembering that. We saw her once last season and that was it. No point. I mean, maybe they were going for the whole Cupid look. Because Cupid is shown as like a little cherub. Like with the wavy hair and stuff. But like, I don't know. Maybe that could have been going for that. That is a good enough excuse. Just please don't be because... Anyway, let's not go there. Let's not go there. Interesting. I like the... I mean, I said that the Sin Archbishop's objectives didn't seem to align. But they seem to, at the very least, be following the gospel. They're following it. But it looks like, as long as they stick to the script for the main quest, the side quests, they can do whatever they want. As long as they follow the book and it doesn't contradict the book. You know? It's like, take over the tower. But you can nab a wife on the way. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Control the tower. But you can sacrifice a few people while you're there, you know? Did you got what Capella's surname was? I don't even know who Capella is. I don't think I care. Camilla looks like Rem when comparing body shape. She was the green-haired one, wasn't she? Is that the one that I made a comment about looking like green-haired Ram? I briefly remember. Lugia. Okay, Lugia's lost. Fair enough. Camilla is lost. I'm calling her Lugia. It's easier to remember. Pink hair. Are we talking about witches? Or are we talking about archbishops? Laganica is the name of the kingdom. Laganica is the sin of lust. Okay. Anyway, let's not worry about it. If it's important, they'll mention it again. It's how these things work. Don't worry about it too much. Don't flood my head with useless information. It's not going to help and I'm not going to remember it. I'm going to remember this episode and think about this episode and think about the various ways that the witch cult could execute whatever plan they have by controlling the 4 towers, which act as guard towers for both the inside and outside of the city. They've also hijacked the headquarters, the communication and nerve center of the city, and they're probably going to use that to find where the witch's body is located. The real question is, what do they want to do with the witch's body? Maybe it's a source of power. Maybe it's a source of information. Maybe the Archbishop of Lust wants to bang a dead body. We don't know. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. I still can't believe that, like, I was assessing the situation of the things that can happen and the things you can do. And in one way or another, Reggie and Sirius were kind of having a back and forth. And Reggie wasn't going to leave, right? But Subaru then just attacked Reggie, even though he wasn't going to leave. And, you know what I mean? Just like, it's kind of weird that all of the things that I was saying could potentially happen in different circumstances all happened in the same scenario, but they happened for very random reasons. And they just ended horribly. Like, if Reggie's about to leave, keep him there. But he wasn't going to leave, but you attacked him anyway. That didn't end very well, because, anyways. Bravo. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Kuma is really horrible with names. Kuma only remembers the names of people he finds interesting. If I find you interesting, like Sirius, Pandora, Reggie, or someone like that, I will remember your name. Or Priscilla, I find her interesting. I will remember her name. But if I don't find you interesting, I'm not going to remember your name. And this also translates to real life for me. I don't remember the names of boring people. I don't remember the names of the people in the teams I look after in work. Because to me, they're just like employee 4231. Like, they're meaningless to me. They're nothing. You know, they're pawns. They're not interesting. But if you're interesting, I will remember your name. I will remember your coffee or tea order. I'll remember the name of your pet. You know what I mean? I remember all that stuff. Like, for example, one of the managers that I looked after, she was from Queensland. She likes rugby. Her pet is called Iggy, but he's not named after the musician, you know? Like, I remember all this shit. She's a beach girl. She likes to surf. Like, I'll remember all these things. But if you're someone I don't find interesting, I don't care. Why would I waste the brain space on people I don't care about? I legit recently had to look up my sister-in-law's name. That's how bad with names I am. I don't remember Hutchon's sister's name. I don't remember Hutchon's brother's name. Does it really matter? Does it really matter? Alright, guys, let's take a quick little break and do some Bleach. So far, so good. Plot thickens. I actually like this because now we're going to see what the witch cult is up to. I have, like, my understanding right now is that even if they're operating independently, they are operating according to the gospel. They're following the gospel. So even if they're kind of doing their own thing, it's a bit like employment. As long as you meet the minimum standard required, you maintain the title of Archbishop. And the rest of the time, you can do whatever you want. So you basically got to follow the orders, but as long as you, like, tick those boxes, you can do whatever you want in your free time. You know? Like, you have to be at this particular city on this particular day to do this particular task. But how you get to that city, what detours you take, and what you have for lunch that day is all up to you. You know what I mean? So you could do all these different things on the way. It's kind of interesting. Like, the witch cult is basically like a job when you really think about it. I wonder what the benefits are like. You know what I mean? Like, think about it this way, right? You get the witch factor. Is it that the witch factor corrupts your consciousness to the point that you become a slave to it, and then you're a Sin Archbishop? What happens if you get someone that is not overpowered or corrupted by the witch factor? They just don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I get Betelgeuse took the witch factor and it corrupted him and he kind of screwed him over. But what happens if, say, for example, you have someone that stumbles upon a witch factor, takes it, right? And they're like, well, you know, I'm not being corrupted by this, but, like, I'm bored of shit, right? You know what I mean? Like, I want to join the witch cult. You know what I mean? Why would you want to join the evil people like them for any reason? How would that be worth it? I don't understand your question. I don't understand your question. Evil is a matter of perspective. I mean, Subaru has sloth witch factor. He does. and it doesn't seem to be corrupting him, but he also doesn't seem to be using it because it comes with serious drawbacks. Like, it knocks him out. It doesn't knock him out, but like incapacitates him. Like, he can't use it. The gospel is a defective version of the term of wisdom that Roswell have, so they guide you to your desirable future. I mean, I get that, but like, my question was more so about becoming a Sin Archbishop. What are the requirements for the job? I'm assuming that having a witch factor is part of it. You have to have the witch factor that is associated to that particular title. But like, what other requirements are there? Because I don't think you necessarily have to be a slave to the witch factor. You could just be bored. You know what I mean? Like, you could just be like, you know what? I'm really sick of this shit. Like, I don't like the fact that we have 4 teenage girls fighting over ruling the kingdom. This is bullshit. I want to bring back communism. And the witch cult is the way to do it. Let's have a Soviet reunion. Witch cult style. You know what I mean? Like, you could just be one of those people. And those types of people exist. What if you have one of those people? Could you be a Sin Archbishop and be 100% perfectly in control of your actions? I think that's possible. I think that is actually more interesting than having people that have been corrupted by a power and they've lost all control. I think having just a person whose, I would say, values, or at the very least motivations, aligning with the antagonists would be 10 times more interesting than a slave to a power they can't control. Because that would add a dimension to the character. They're not simply corrupted and insane, they're genuinely evil. But why are they evil? You know what I mean? Like, we're talking, you know what I mean? Like, I find that more interesting. Like, what makes them tick? What made them turn? What makes them want the witch cult to win, you know? Like, those types of people are interesting. The people that are just insane and corrupted, I don't give a shit about that. I don't think Reggie vs. Sirius would have been a good outcome. If Reggie damages Sirius, everyone in the scare will do so, and I don't think Sirius can defeat Reggie, as Reggie says himself. I mean, that was pretty obvious from the back and forth. That's why they're evil hands down. I don't think Reggie vs. Sirius got it. At least it seems that it was pretty good. At least the Geus faction before the witch factor made him go crazy. I mean, you mean like when he was running around and giving people books? Are we talking about Betelgeuse when he was like going around with the Catholic Church and giving people books? At least it seems like it was pretty good. At least man, people's messages are getting approved, so all the recent messages are actually getting pushed up. Join the dark side. Sometimes makes more sense. To hurt innocents for no reason. I mean, you don't necessarily have to hurt innocents in order for the witch cult to win. We don't actually know what they need to do. Because if they just need to dig up a witch's body, you don't necessarily have to hurt innocents to do that. You just have to locate the body and dig it up. You know what I mean? Like, you don't necessarily have to hurt innocents in order to get the job done. We're not the United States of America here, where collateral damage is the objective. The objective is the objective. You get in there and you do it, right? If it's digging up a witch, you get a witch. If it's getting a Echidna's body, it's getting a Echidna's body. Like, it depends what the objective is. But I would actually like if, at the very least, there is a character that is willingly aligned with the witch cult, just because I want to see what makes them tick. I like that. I like an actual complex 3-dimensional character that willingly joins the antagonists because their point of view makes sense. And if you have such a person, right, I find that interesting. Think Pain from Naruto Shippuden. Think about that for a minute. Pain, right? You might disagree, but he had a point. And his point of view challenged the protagonist, questioned the protagonist, and the protagonist was like, I don't have a response. I don't have an answer. I don't have a solution. You know what I mean? Like, he was the complete opposite of the protagonist. But his point of view and belief system and what he was doing and the motivation he had made sense. That's good writing. I want that. I find that interesting, you know? You could even have something like, this person is joining the witch cult and doing these things. And your argument, like many people in the chat would say, oh, but he's hurting innocent people. Here's a flip. you know what's going to happen. If you don't do these following things, the calamities that would take place as a result of not doing these things would result in the deaths of far more people than would die to prevent it from happening. In that point of view, the witch cult wouldn't be so bad. They're preventing something from happening. You get what I mean? So it all comes down to personal perspective and the rationale and the reasoning behind certain actions. Sometimes a bad action actually leads to a good outcome, and sometimes a good action leads to a bad outcome. Not everything is sequential. Sometimes you're trying to do the right thing, trying to prevent the bad from happening, and in doing so, you do something which results in the deaths of 10 times more people. That's good writing. I want that. Give me that. That's fun. That we can discuss. That's lore, hypothetical, different routes, what if scenarios. That's what you can get out of a story like Re Zero, particularly when the character has multiple if routes, because you shouldn't necessarily give all the information about what's actually going on in the world in one route. That would just be lazy. When you have these what if routes could give you little nuggets of knowledge which help you piece together the broader world. And then you have depth to this world. You have lore to the world. And if you actually want to find out what the F is happening, where the F these people came from. Like, say, for example, you have a Sin Archbishop, right? And in the main story, you have a few interactions with them and they might die and they might, not die or whatever the fuck. But, like, you don't understand how they got to where they are and how they did certain things. But the way to get that information could be in a what-if route. And you get those pieces of information because in that route there's more interactions with that character or that character does something different, right? And so by going through these different routes and what-if scenarios and everything, you actually learn from the broader world. And then once you piece it together, then you understand what the F is going on. And you can do something like that because this world has enough unanswered questions that there's plenty there. That's why I'm hopeful that there's going to be some characters there that really just blow your mind. That's 10 times better than a little girl that's lost or something. You know what I mean? Like, a bit of depth is fun. At least give me one or two characters like that. I will be a happy chappy. But full kudos to how they're writing Garfield's arc and things like that. I really like that. And then you've also got a little bit of Wilhelm and Reinhardt. They've started touching on that a little bit, so I'm really curious to see how that goes, and I hope that goes well. But I really like what they're doing with Garfield's arc. It was something like very little that they had in Season 2, and now they're actually exploring it in Season 3, which is very nice. I don't see them the reasonable type... I don't see them the reasonable type of villains. They seem to put down their own ideas before everything like the witches. If I was Sin Archbishop, I would like to have the casualties to minimum. It depends how freedom they have, what personality they have, or how corrupted they have been. Except from the nobles' kingdom, they can all die. Yeah, but the nobles are going to shield themselves behind civilians and guards. That's the things. The best villains are the ones you can somewhat agree with. I absolutely agree with that. A well-written villain will make you question what is right and what is wrong. That's a well-written villain. That makes you question, am I a good guy or am I a bad guy? That's how you know the villain is written well. Let's hope. Let's hope. Let's hope. Let's hope. Let's hope. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for depth. And there should be enough characters to go around to give us some of that. So that's what I'm really hoping for. And if this season is 36 episodes, by God, they should give us some character exposition.
Hey, did I hand you a shrinking potion by accident? I could have sworn that was the gender swapping one.
Don't be hating. She's fun sized, that's all. She doesn't even have to get on her knees to blow.
You want to add anything to that conversation?
Nope, I'm good. In fact, I think your new size makes you an even more formidable and stealthy ninja.